This is not going to be one of those feel-good videos where I say I'm proud of you for starting going to the gym or starting on your transformation journey. Instead, this is going to be the raw truth of why you are still skinny fat and look like shit. So as a skinny fat, as you would know, you have a lot of fat mass, but low muscle mass. So there's two issues, but the more pressing issue is that you have low muscle rather than having high fat. So when I was still skinny fat, I lost 10 kilograms of weight, but what I overlooked was trying to gain muscle. So I lost 10 kilos of weight. I lost 10 kilos of fat, sure. But guess what? I stayed skinny fat because there was no muscle that I had added to my frame. So I still had that lower belly fat that I was so insecure about. And it wasn't because I was fat. It was because I made no conscious effort to try and pack on muscle to my frame, which is ultimately what is going to transform your skinny fat physique. And it's only after I started training properly and eating properly for muscle growth that I saw an actual change in my physique, where my lower belly fat started to seem less significant. And the biggest reason that was the case was because I purely just added muscle to my frame. It was not me obsessing over calories that I was eating and fat loss, but rather trying to make a conscious, intentional effort to pack on muscle mass that transformed my physique. And so I'll give you this example of a skinny fat guy. If this skinny fat guy loses 5 kilos of fat, and that is all, then he will turn into looking like this. Just a skinnier version, but still skinny fat. Now instead, take this same guy and say he adds 5 kilos of muscle mass, but his fat mass stays the exact same. He would look like this and no longer be skinny fat. So the point is, muscle is way more important and way more of a pressing issue when it comes to fixing the skinny fat physique. And you can see the same phenomenon occur in myself. In these two photos, I'm relatively the same weight at about 75 kilograms. The one in the before is where I've never stepped foot in the gym in my entire life and am fat. And I literally look like a blob. In the second photo though, you can tell I'm still holding a bit of fat mass, but I've been training in the gym in this photo for about 5 years. And you can tell that I've packed on some serious muscle mass. So I look so much better and am also the same weight in both of these photos. So it just goes to show that muscle is your most pressing issue when it comes to skinny fat. It's not fat loss. And what does my head in is I will speak to all of these guys. I'll speak to all of my clients. And the first thing they want to know is, should I be bulking? Should I be cutting? How should I eat to get that six pack to show? How should I be eating to get rid of that lower belly fat? When in reality, the issue is not one of fat loss because most skinny fat guys don't actually have that much fat mass on their frame. The issue is that the fat mass on their frame is low in comparison to the muscle mass on their frame. So their body fat percentage is high. But what you don't realize is you can bring your body fat percentage down by just adding muscle as opposed to trying to lose body fat. Because when you don't add any underlying muscle to your frame, you stay skinny fat. It doesn't matter how much fat you can drop. You can turn into a twig and still be skinny fat because there's no muscle on your frame. And if you're looking for the exact program that I use to train in the gym and build muscle, you can check out the first link in the description below. Now, number 2, I think the reason that most guys stay low muscle and skinny fat is because they just purely do not train hard enough in the gym. So what you've probably subscribed to is the just showing up mentality, which is where you've been told that all you need to do is show up to the gym and you will make results. And look, I get the mentality. I get it when you're starting out. Just showing up is a win because you're doing something on top of what you've not been doing already. But you've likely got to the point now where you might have been training for a few months, 6 months, maybe even a year, but you are still skinny fat because you're past the point where just showing up is actually going to do any good for you. When I just showed up for 2 months in my initial gym transformation, yeah, I built a ton of muscle, sure. But what you need to realize is that that mentality no longer works after the initial month or 2 months that you've been going to the gym. I see all these guys when I rock up to the gym at 6 a.m. in the morning. It's the same people every day. They're literally as consistent as I am, but they are still fat. They go on the same machine circuit every single morning. I see them doing the exact same exercises, putting in the exact same level of effort. They're literally just there like NPCs, like robots, not intentionally thinking about what they're doing. They will just go through the motions. They are just showing up. Sure, they're consistent, but they are not putting in enough effort into every set that they do, into the exercises that they are doing. They are not reaching failure, which is what you have to do on most, if not all of your sets, if you truly want to pack on muscle. Because your body has no reason to build muscle and engage in the muscle protein synthesis process if you're not giving it the right stimulus. Because think about it. If I go to the gym and am comfortable on every single exercise that I do, then what reason does my body have to adapt? It has to adapt to nothing because I'm not pushing it. There's no reason for my body to pack on muscle. So you need to be intentional. You need to attack every set. And what I see all the time as well is all of these guys that are on their phones in the gym for literally like 5 minutes in between each set that they do. I'm there waiting to get on the machine and I'm watching them just scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on Instagram Reels, watching YouTube. And I'm like, mate, you're at the gym to work out, not watch brain rot content. And I think guys will just show up to the gym to just tick a box and feel productive. And that might be you. But there's absolutely zero point to doing that if you're not rocking up with the intention of pushing hard and pushing to failure. And I hate to say it, I honestly think it's a bit immature that you rock up to the gym every time and can't even muster up the courage to actually push yourself. You're just a comfort merchant that hates ever having to push themselves. And look, I've been there myself. So I say this not in spite, but I say it wanting the best for you, truly. I went through about 6 months of training where I was just going through the motions. I was rocking up for the sake of rocking up to the gym, just so I could check it off the list for the day. I wasn't rocking up thinking to myself, I want to beat what I did last time on the weight or reps that I'm doing. And guess what? I made absolutely zero progress over that 6 months of training. My strength output and rep output on the exercises I was doing stayed the exact same. So I was going to the gym literally 6-7 times every week. That's almost every day for 6 months straight. And I made zero gains. So don't make the same mistake that I did of being unintentional with your workouts. And the biggest thing here, I think, is accountability. If you can go to the gym every time with someone that watches you while you're doing your sets, like a friend or something, that is such a good motivator for you to actually push hard because there's someone else that you're accountable to. There's someone else that's watching you do your set. And it's very easy to not push yourself all of the way when you're the only one that knows that you could have done more. If someone else is watching you while you're doing that set of bench press, then they're going to call you out for not actually pushing all the way. And this was an issue that one of my clients, Alex, faced for such a long time. When I started training with him, he actually adopted the mindset of pushing hard in the gym, which is something he struggled with in the past. And in the 3 months of working together, he made the most progress of his entire life, going from skinny fat to literally so muscular. And it was simply because of that change in mindset that he used at the gym. So number 3, what's the fix? I think a practical step that you can take right now is go to your app store and download the Strong app. What this is a workout tracker. You can put in the weights you're lifting on the exercises you're doing and for how many reps you're doing on each set. So when you track your workouts, when you track the exercises you're doing, the number of sets you're doing, and the number of reps you're doing for an amount of weight, this way you're actually conscious of what you've been doing in your previous workouts. Because I think one of the biggest reasons why people don't push themselves hard enough is because they can't even remember the weights or the reps that they did last time. And the way to push yourself is to try and beat what you did last time. So let's say I was doing bench press on 60 kilos for 10 reps. If I didn't record that workout, then in a week's time when I do bench press again, I've already forgotten what weight and what reps I did. So I might get to that workout and be like, okay, I'm just gonna go like 50 kilos for 8 reps. And I'm clearly not pushing myself because in the past, I've done so much more than that. Whereas when you have a record of what you've done, you know what you have to beat. And that is a way you can actually remind yourself to actually push and reach failure in the gym so that you're not cheating yourself. Another fix, I think, is paying attention to the foods that you are eating. So I think one of the reasons when I was talking about that 6-month training period I went through where I made 0 gains because I was unintentional with my training was because I was eating such shitty processed foods. And the ingredients that go into those foods not only make you fat and make it harder to build muscle, but they also make you lower energy. They make you feel more tired and they have a negative impact on your testosterone levels. So what that means is you find it harder to get out of bed in the morning and go to the gym and train. You have way less motivation to do things in life. You have less of a desire to put effort into things. And I think when you can up your testosterone by eating clean, natural, unprocessed foods, that is when you actually have this ability, when you have this desire to actually train hard and push to failure and be intentional with your workouts. So that's also another practical tip that you can implement into your life to ensure that you are training adequately with intention and you're not just showing up and going through the motions. That is going to keep you skinny fat. So again, if you're looking for direct guidance to transform your skinny fat physique, you can check out my program. That's the first link in the description, where you can call me. I can give you exact advice and I'm available 24/7. So if you learned anything from this video, please consider subscribing. Get to 20K subs soon and I'll see you in the next one.